What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Face Off on TrueSports Hockey. My name is Steele Roden. I have the pleasure of being joined by Celine Tremarchi and Lucas Critelli. The NHL season is over, guys. The Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games and have won the Stanley Cup in back-to-back seasons. Now, obviously, Montreal, they had one hell of a run, beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games, sweeping the Winnipeg Jets, and then taking care of business against the Vegas Golden Knights, but they couldn't get it done against the favorites, the Tampa Bay Lightning, in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, looking back at that series, Lucas, do you believe that this run, or even them getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, was a fluke, or were they meant to be there?
A lot of people I've heard have said it was a fluke just because of what happened during the season. They weren't the best team. They really came into the playoffs not playing their best hockey. They were down 3-1 to the Leafs. And then all of a sudden after that, it just turned around and it was all Montreal in the next series against Winnipeg and Vegas. I think GM Marc Bergevin thought, this is our chance to make a splash in the playoffs. They're in sort of a weaker division in the North Division, which is not going to happen next year. So he made some deals acquiring Corey Perry in the offseason, acquiring Eric Stahl at the deadline, bringing up Cole Caulfield. He made some strategic moves to see, we're going to go for it this year and see what happens. Because when things go back to normal next season, when you have Florida playing well, you're going to be back with Boston. The Toronto Maple Leafs are always good during the regular season. Tampa Bay as well. Montreal isn't really in that mix, and they might be, but I didn't think it was a fluke at all. They got hot at the right time. They had the team to do it, but they just ran into, I'd say, a complete team in Tampa Bay.
You know, as soon as Montreal beat Toronto, for some reason, I was like, they're going to win the cup. I don't know why, but I just assumed they're going to win the cup. But then with Winnipeg and then with Vegas, I'm like, oh my God, the hockey gods are on their side. To me, it was a total fluke, though. Like, come on, if this was a normal year, like before COVID, there's no chance they would be in the playoffs. Like, come on, give me a break. But I mean, like this year, yeah, no, it was just a fluke. And plus, like the Leafs, John Tavares was out, and then you had Mark Scheifele, and then also Chandler Stevenson. Like, it was just, everything was going in the Montreal Canadiens' favors. But I mean, hey, like, look, they made it pretty damn far. And, you know, it also just goes to show that you don't really need top players to be on your team to make it that far. Like, there's quite a bit of veterans on that team. And Carey Price, come on. Like, in all honesty, he deserved to win. I mean, maybe not the team, but he deserved to win. But yeah, no, honestly, still, yeah, it was a fluke. It was just a fluke.
You can also toss Shea Weber in there. I think he deserved to win a Stanley Cup as well. But I think the biggest thing for me this year was this reminded me a lot of the playoffs last season with the Dallas Stars getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, they went through Colorado. They went through Vegas. They go up against the Tampa Bay Lightning and then just got dominated by them. And that's exactly what I saw this season, this playoffs season with the Montreal Canadiens. So for me, it was a little bit fluky. Like Celine said, there was a lot of injuries to the other teams as well as that Mark Scheifele suspension. But nonetheless, they did a great job in getting that far, and then they just got beat by the better team. But let's talk about the back-to-back champs now. They were just absolutely incredible the entire playoff series, as well as the entire playoffs in general. Andrei Vasilevskiy was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy as MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals. And to me, there's always some controversy. Maybe not controversy, but some sort of debate of who should get it. And I think easily last year it could have gone to Braden Point or Nikita Kucherov. They just had incredible runs last playoffs season as well. And that's the same with this year. You know, you look at guys, Braden Point again, that 9-game goal streak, Nikita Kucherov finishing with 37 points in the playoffs. But it goes to Andrei Vasilevskiy. Celine, was this the right call with Vasilevskiy getting awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy? Or do you think it should have been handed elsewhere?
You know, I agree with this. I mean, even like looking back last year, like Andrei Vasilevskiy, he deserved it. And even like this year, he really did deserve it. He was 16-7 in the playoffs, 5 shutouts. Now, he's the first goalie in NHL history to get a shutout in 5 straight series, which includes last year as well against the Dallas Stars in Game 6. And then the first to do it in 4 times in a single postseason. I mean, he's accomplished quite a bit this year, including a bit of last year too, and 22 saves in the Game 5 winner against the Montreal Canadiens. Honestly, I have to say Vasilevskiy. I mean, like, Kucherov is a hell of a good player. He put up so many points this year. He was a top player for the team, but you just got to give it to Vasilevskiy because, like, no matter what, it goes down onto the goalie. Like, if Vasilevskiy let in one goal, I mean, maybe it would have been to Kucherov, but I don't know. He was playing so good this year that he deserved it.
Yeah, still, I'm going Vasilevskiy all the way. Coming into the Stanley Cup final, I really thought that Kucherov was the main guy to get it. This guy, he came back from hip surgery. He's put up the 32 points in the playoffs after not playing a regular season. Like, that's unheard of before. But then you see Vasilevskiy, and he just flipped the switch. This guy played unbelievable. And if you remember back to when they played Chicago in 2014 in the Stanley Cup final, and Ben Bishop got hurt, and then everybody was saying it's over for Tampa Bay because Vasilevskiy's in net. Look at him now. He's a Vezina Trophy candidate almost every year. He's a Conn Smythe winner now, a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Celine gave that stat, the 5 shutouts in clinching games. That's just he knows when to turn it on at the right time, and I think it's well deserved. It could have gone either way, but I agree 100% with Andrei Vasilevskiy winning the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, and especially now that we're finding out that Nikita Kucherov was playing with a fractured rib that entire Stanley Cup Finals and still producing the way he was producing was just incredible. But my top guy before the Stanley Cup Finals was Braden Point. But obviously now just the way Andrei Vasilevskiy handled the Montreal Canadiens, you got to give it to him. A .938 save percentage, a 1.90 goals against average. He was just lights out for them. And of course, he deserved the Conn Smythe Trophy, even though they just have Tampa Bay has so many players that you can choose from. It had to go to Andrei Vasilevskiy this year. Just another award on the belt for him. And, you know, another guy who has a lot of awards so far in the last 3 seasons, that's Patrick Maroon. He's become the 4th player in NHL history to win 3 Stanley Cups in a row and the first since 1964. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent in this offseason. Lucas, do you believe Tampa Bay brings him back and continues to keep that luck on their side, or will he go somewhere else and bring the luck to another team and potentially win 4 Stanley Cups in a row?
See, I would think the big rig is going to stay in the Bay Area. You heard John Cooper say it after the game that this team knows that they're not all going to be together after this offseason because of the expansion draft and the hard cap due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Things are going to change, and they're going to bring up a lot of young guys. You saw Matthew Joseph come up, make a big impact in this final. Ross Colton scored the game winner in Game 5 against Montreal. And if you bring back Patrick Maroon, again, he really is taking team-friendly contracts, $900K a year for 1 year. And he brings that veteran presence, and he brings physicality. You saw him with all those chirps. You've seen it on social media. They're just absolutely hilarious. And he just brings a different element to the team that I think Tampa Bay is going to want to keep. Not going to lie, I can see Tampa Bay going back to the Stanley Cup next year because they're still going to have their core. And Patrick Maroon, he's got luck on his side. 3 cups in 3 years. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to want to let him go.
Well, I'm going to keep my answer really short and sweet. I mean, 3 cups, and now I think it's time to leave, okay? Like, I would retire if I was Patrick Maroon. I would go off
retire on top.
What more can you ask for? 3, like Tom Brady, too, like, if we're going to talk about
another cup.
Like, yeah, like, it's pretty crazy. I mean, if Patrick Maroon stays and, like, goes somewhere else to compete for another Stanley Cup, great for him. That's amazing. But I mean, I wouldn't be too sad if he just decided to up and leave. I mean, 3 cups, that's good enough, isn't it? It's hard to get 1. Like, look at Price.
It's a drug, Celine. It's a drug. Once you get 1, once you get 2, once you get 3,
keep going.
Just want
you gotta
that
keep going
feeling.
until you finally can.
Going.
That's fair.
So,
yeah, well, let's end on a high note and let's discuss Nikita Kucherov's post-game shirtless press conference interview, throwing a little shade towards the Montreal Canadiens fans about how they reacted in their win in Game 4. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, you know, just how his reaction or his comments on how those fans reacted about, you know, it's like they won the Stanley Cup, but they only won a game. Celine, what were your thoughts on his post-game interview?
Number one, the guy had way too many things to drink before even going up in that.
He deserved it. He deserved it.
Couple
Yeah,
pops. He just had a
deserved
couple pops. That's all.
He was just saying like everything that came to the top of his head. He was just like, there was no filter there. But like, look at it. This is the first time a Canadian team has made it this far. Like, if it was, let's say Montreal, it was 3-0 Montreal. Tampa came back and they won one game. Of course, the team is good. All the fans are gonna go crazy. They're gonna make it seem like they won the cup. But for Montreal, it's so different. Like, it's been since 1993 that a Canadian team has made it to the Stanley Cup final. So, and they're down in the series, and as soon as they win a game, of course everybody's gonna go crazy. I would. Like, imagine if that was the Leafs. Like, imagine Leafs fans. Like, we get excited off of like one small thing, and that's huge. Where the Montreal Canadiens, like what they accomplished this year, and like to me, what Kucherov said, honestly, I'll probably receive some backlash. I think it was very classless. I mean, he could have just said, I'm sorry. He could have easily just not have said that. He could have just said, yeah, well, they played a good game, whatever, but may the best team win. Something along those lines. Like, he didn't have to throw that much shade at Montreal fans. I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone throws a beer at him next time he enters the Bell Center in Montreal.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly, Selena. And a part of me is like, maybe this is good for the NHL. You just started a new rivalry. Wait till we see. It's going to be a hot ticket when you see the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Montreal Canadiens next year at the Bell Center. I'm pretty sure T-shirts and the memorabilia is already being printed against Kucherov for that game next season. But he had too much to drink, and it's a stressful time. He had to go through all those playoffs. I guess he just let out all of that stress right there, all of his feelings, and to do it in the after press conference, you even saw the little drink on the side that he had there. And also what struck me is what he said about Marc-Andre Fleury. He didn't even remember his name, who won the Vezina this year. He's like, yeah, whatever, that guy on Vegas.
Oh my God.
So that struck me too. I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy, he really, like Vasilevsky again, he would. I think it was neck and neck with him and Fleury in the Vezina conversation. And if you saw the NHL first team and the second team, Vasilevsky was on the first team and Fleury was on the second team for the NHL. So, but he was the Vezina Trophy winner, which I didn't understand. Still, you liked my comment on that, so I know you saw it. So I think he just let out all frustrations. I think it was hilarious, and it's gonna go down as one of those like top 10 press conference moments, I hope.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I thought it was hilarious. You know, either Nikita Kucherov's a lightweight or he just crushed like 7 beers immediately after winning the Stanley Cup. But
still, I'm sure they had a lot.
Oh, they had a lot to drink. I can guarantee that. But you know, just to clarify, it was the first time the Montreal Canadiens got to the finals since 1993, but the Vancouver Canucks got to the finals just a decade ago. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Face-Off on TrueSports Hockey. We will be back soon later this month with the action of NHL free agency. Of course, thank you Celine Tremarchi and Lucas Fratelli for joining me today. I'm Steele Roden, and we will catch you guys later.